blessings. You are a believer.
Yes.
And could you tell us a little bit about your past and just a brief testimony how God has led you to this amazing calling?
Yeah, I'm originally from Virginia, athlete, and I was coming up in the 80s, and one thing led to another. I was at Hampton University, and it was the 80s, and so I got in with a different crowd, and it just went from there.
Yeah.
I was always, a financial guru, kind of a, numbers guy, and so my part in that drug game was that's what I did. I was the money man, and it just went on for 25 years. But finally, in 2002, I was charged with the RICO Act, which is racketeering, and
right. Yes.
And it boiled down to I didn't actually get convicted of RICO. I was convicted of fraudulent schemes, money laundering, and conspiracy to traffic. But what that was my moment. That was when God sat me down. It's like, okay, you finished playing? Because I've got stuff for you to do, and it's time for you to get started. So
it's been over 2 decades, brother.
Right.
I'm not going to keep watching you go down a black rabbit hole.
Right. And so, but while I was there, I actually did 7 years in prison. But that was when I actually found what my calling and my purpose was, because I helped over 400 inmates get their GED. Yeah, and so I was never in a gang, but I associated with all of them.
Yeah.
I was able to mediate conflicts on the yard, and so that was when I found my purpose, or the light bulb went off. And so when I hit the ground, my mother started a nonprofit because she figured my son that I've been sent to Hampton University is now a kingpin.
In this situation.
Exactly. And so she started,
what's happening?
right. And so she started a nonprofit, and when I got out of prison, I hit the ground running with her organization and just been going ever since.
Praise the Lord.
So,
what is the most fulfilling part of your calling, of this ministry?
Oh,
for you?
When you have a participant, and I use this analogy. You see the light bulb go over above their head, and they get it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is...
they connect, like they make that connection.
They make that connection, and then they realize that it's partly God sent, and then the other part is, this is your purpose.
Yeah.
And luckily, hopefully, we can get you to figure out your purpose before you're 38.
Right.
So.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a long time.
That's a long time. So.
Redemption.
Yeah.
Right, brother? Forgiveness.
That's how it works.
Grace, mercy,
Exactly.
all of God's goodness just being poured on you.
Exactly. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
And then again, our family. When I say our family, you're part of the family. When it's domestic violence, we support you. You support us.
What can we do for you? How can we partner in the future? I know that we've been brainstorming a little bit. We don't have anything concrete yet.
Yeah.
It's a relatively new ministry. And I wanted to bring you on the show so you can explain what's really needed and what can we do to bridge the gap.
Yeah, I think as Hope Hustlers, as we move through our space and the spaces that we're in, when there is a domestic violence situation, and it may come from the community, it may come from the court, it may be a situation we're working with a child in school, and we find out, then we will refer them to you.
Okay.
And then we would share, obviously, the information so we could, collectively help them out.
That sounds great. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. First of the year.
Yeah, I know, because we're
close.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
So.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Time is moving so fast.
Yeah.
So the success story, do you have a particular one that you always kind of keep in the back of your mind and it helps you to push forward when you got a rough week?
Yeah. And we've had a few success stories, but the one that most sticks out, and actually I saw him last week, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. I met a kid. He was, my office is downtown. It was on MLK on the west side, and there was a shootout up the street. And so, it's normal. Unfortunately, it's normal on that side of town. But I saw this young man. He was trying to get away from this gunfight, and apparently ended up he was the one in the gunfight. But something told me to bring him inside and get him into safety. And we sat down and talked. He's like, I just want to survive. I just want to. I don't want to be.
I don't want to be a part of this.
Exactly.
I'm frustrated.
Right, and so I poured into him. And we sat him down, and we came together and put together a plan. A success plan. We call them an individual success plan for him and him only.
Okay.
And, you know, he had some ups and downs. He had to go to school and do some different things, but he overcame all of those obstacles. And today he's in IT for Best Buy.
What?
Yes. So, and this is the same kid I saw running down the street with a gun.
Praise the Lord.
So
Thank
only,
you.
only 3-4 years ago. So, yeah. His name is Dante.
Dante. Shout out to Dante.
Shout out Dante. But yeah, I use him as an example all the time because, you know, if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
We can all do it. We can all change.
Do you ever share your faith story or faith journey with any of the youth?
Yeah, I do. Because it's my, you know, it's part of my purpose. And so, but they appreciate that because then they say they can find and look into their own spirituality and see where it is.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a pastor, you know, my mom reminded me of this. She says, you know, it's a nonprofit, but you know this is your ministry, right? I was like, yeah.
That's why I said this is your calling and your ministry.
Yeah, there's a difference now. I was like, you know, salvation is free. Ministry costs money.
Tell me about it.
Exactly, you know that. So, but yeah, this is what it is. And so that's just my way of doing it. And a lot of people, you know, they, fortunately, they need that. They respond to it.
Yeah, yeah. It's that sense of loss.
Yes.
It's a sense of hopelessness, but then you provide that hope.
Right. That's what we
You
call it,
provide
hope
the
hustles.
exactly.
Exactly.
You hustle
Hope.
to present hope to them that it's real, it's attainable.
It's attainable, right?
Right.
Right.
So whatever's happened up here can be shifted, can be
Right.
changed.
Right. But it starts with you.
Right.
You gotta, you know, but you have to believe it. And again, that goes back to the unaddressed trauma. If you don't see yourself going to college, or if you don't see yourself being a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief or whatever it is, then how are you going to get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, financial literacy is a major part of what we do. You know, again, we have to address some
Financial literacy.
financial literacy,
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
job readiness,
Yep.
mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Huge.
right? And
Yep.
so that's the
Spiritual
key.
development.
Spiritual development, all
That's
these
another
things.
huge one. I'm here.
Right.
We are here.
Right. And I want to thank you for being that, because it's difficult in our community with the church and the community. It's just difficult.
When you say difficult, give me one example. What's
I'll give you an
what's the
example.
hurdle?
Okay. So, and we partner with churches from time to time. And I remember we were throwing, we had a basketball tournament.
Okay.
And, you know, I deal with the highest risk. So everybody has a gun somewhere, you know, when they come out.
On the spot.
Somewhere.
On hand.
Somewhere around them. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I just think that not necessarily the pastors, their heart obviously is in the right place. But when we start dealing with the congregation, you know, you say you want to help, but when I bring my people around, kind of standoffish and, you know, they smell like weed and, yeah, but they're not shooting anyone. You know, one thing at a time.
Right,
And so,
right. So their anxiety kicks in.
Right,
They box them in.
right,
And then they start believing what they're thinking.
right.
When
Right.
in reality, they haven't shown them anything.
They haven't shown them anything. You won't even let them in. And
That's a big problem.
Yeah,
That's a
and,
big problem.
and it's a major problem. And this takes us back. When we look at Jesus, you have to remember who he walked amongst.
The sinners.
Right.
The
So
least of them, the sinners. He came for the sinners,
right.
not for the healthy ones.
Right.
Right.
So that's
Church is a hospital, not a pretty place where we go play some pretty music.
exactly
and dress up all nice and
sing
pretty.
and right.
I like dressing nice and pretty. Now we looking good.
I know,
by the
right?
way.
We do clean.
You got
up
the
well.
red tie. You know, it's funny how the Lord works. I just want to let y'all know. I was going to record an episode with just me. He walks in half an hour early because I was going to record my episode before we were going to get together. And I see him walking with a red tie. And the Lord said, no, you're going to wear this outfit. So
See how it works?
another high five.
Exactly. That's
We're
how it
looking
works.
good. Anywho.
So-
I had to add that just like warm-hearted thing because it was true how God works.
Exactly.
But going back to the church, how they aren't welcoming. Some churches
Some churches, not all of them.
Right, are not welcoming.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about what happens with that population. At that point when they feel a sense of rejection.
There's no ownership in the community in the sense where when I was coming up, the churches was where we went
Right.
to get away from things.
Yeah.
But when you shut out, first of all, you know, in the community, you probably have a large, it doesn't matter even if it's a larger church or a small church, you're smack dab in the hood, for lack of a better term. And that's the place was supposed to be a place of refuge for those people in that community.
Right.
But when they feel that they can't, you know, or they won't be accepted, you know, and so now you become, you know, shunned.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
and so
right,
it doesn't, right, and so they don't
so
feel.
what they're doing is they're not going to church.
Right. But you got your church smack dab in the middle of their neighborhood. Okay.
I've got a quick game. Are you ready for it?
Right. Okay.
So MindShift Thrive wants to be able to support your organization.
Oh, okay.
And the Lord kind of put it in my heart to write out a check for the, it's not going to be like
Don't worry.
big money.
Anything's more than what we had yesterday. So.
As much as I want to give you so much money, I can't right
I'm trying to fund you. So.
Yes, thank you. Keep praying over that. So I'm going to call it Bible Jeopardy.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Close your eyes. Draw one out. Okay.
Okay.
So don't open it yet,
Okay.
but show the camera how much it's worth.
$50.
$50. Are you ready for the question? Now I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay, you ask me a question.
All right. This is a $50 question. You ready? Which woman of the Bible was a devoted follower of Jesus's ministry? Now, I'm doing a multiple choice because I want him to win all the money.
Thank you, because I was sitting there thinking, oh, Lord, there's a whole lot of women in the Bible.
This is called grace.
Oh, yes,
Right?
Thank you. I
And God
appreciate
just showers his blessings, so I'm not
Yes.
going to make it difficult. This is fun.
Okay.
H for Thrive stands for humor.
Gotcha.
And we got to make it light and bright.
You've always been.
Okay. So A, Mary Magdalene. B, Mary J. Blige.
Mary Magdalene, don't even. Because that's you.
No,
Okay.
you got the third one. This one could be tricky.
Okay.
All right. Mary, Queen of Scots.
Oh, Mary Magdalene. Because I was going to say that anyway, by the way. I was going to say that first.
Just in case another one was
Just
like
in case
more
another
than
one, right, exactly.
You just earned $50.
Hey.
Let him in, 'cause he knows where you